Well then, welcome live listeners, unless of course you're watching this via YouTube, which is fuck it, to Equestrian Voice, where you are the star of the show. I can't even remember what I've done before on that, but anyways, I am your host, Silver, and with me today is Foxum.
Hey,
Yes, hey, indeed. And today we have a guest here, like normal, and would you like to introduce yourself there?
sure. I am Mitchell Meerman. Typically in the brony community, I go by Admiral Yoshi as my music name, and I also go by Yoshi 25 in a lot of places. Um, I am 20 years old, and I am a brony musician as well. I guess I kind of mentioned that, but
Yeah, don't hurt
uh,
yourself. All we needed was your name.
yeah.
Don't hurt yourself too much. Anyways, I think this one might go a little differently because before you were telling me you were really excited about something you were working on and that you wanted to wait until today. So this one might go a bit different than our other shows if anyone's actually watched those. Hopeful face. But I just want to get the first few questions out of the way anyway. Alright, so we got your name. Mind telling us how you came across to start using the name Admiral Yoshi?
Um, it was kind of like a little bit of a joke. I've been using Yoshi 25 since I was in middle school, so probably around 10 plus years. I was using that as a an email address, and then later, as I started getting into forums, that's what I was using. Um, Last year, I kind of just came up with Admiral Yoshi as a joke, kind of in a chat that I was in, and I always kind of kept it in the back of my mind, and I started using that when I got into music just because I really couldn't think of anything better.
Anyways, so you told us a little bit about yourself, but what are your main hobbies? So what do you like to do the most often? I guess.
I like to keep myself busy a lot. Um, for the most part, outside of school and work, I make a lot of music. Uh, Hang out with my friends typically online. Shout out to the TK Sync guys who are currently in the chat, or some of them are at least. And I play a lot of arcade games. I'm also a retro video game collector for the most part. And other than that, not really too much. I also like sports. I do fantasy football. I just do a lot of everything.
A lot of everything. That's a pretty good answer for what you just said, and you've already kind of described yourself from the beginning. So, last kind of question to transition us into the next set of questions. What kind of title do you think the fandom would use to describe you? The MLP fandom only.
As in like what they would think that I do, or
Well, I've been told I can no longer give out examples, so try your best.
um they would probably call me the come on and slam guy, the Space Jam remix guy that's not Psychosis.
That's
Other,
probably
other than maybe guys who know about Shadow H and Misha Dash and guys like that. I do a lot of mashups, so that might be part of it. I'm hoping to kind of change that a little bit though. We'll see.
anyway. Admiral Yoshi, do you from the MLP show? I'm assuming you've watched it at least some.
No, I've never seen it before. Yeah, yeah,
Oh, okay,
I
so
have.
without any prior knowledge, who is your favorite pony?
Before I watched the show, before I got into it, or
Well, I was making
right
a
now.
joke, but sure, that might
Oh,
be interesting.
before I got into the show, it probably would have been Rainbow Dash. But right now it's Pinkie Pie. I don't really know why. I guess I wish that I could be as kind of outgoing as Pinkie Pie, and I'm not. I probably will never be, but yeah, it's okay.
All right, so from the show, have you watched the entire season 1 and 2?
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so what would you say is your favorite episode?
That's that's kind of a tough one.
You can
Um,
divide it by seasons if you must.
yeah, I don't think that's gonna help.
Well, just pick
Um,
one that you really like. It doesn't have to be your favorite.
I do like the season opener and season finales of season two. Those are both very good episodes. I kind of have a soft spot for Sonic Rainboom, that episode, because that was actually the first one I saw, and I also like Party of One and Lesson Zero. Those are two other good ones.
Since you apparently know a little bit about music, a bit about music, or a lot, I don't know. Uh, do you have a favorite song from the show?
From the show, um, it was Smile, Smile, Smile for a very good while.
Ah,
That rhymed. Um, but I think right now it's This Day Aria. I got after that show, that episode came out. I just got addicted to that song. It's perfect. I have a soft spot for piano though, so that's another one of my hobbies. I play piano as well.
and all right, just try and think of one moment in the entire show, just like the first one that pops in your head, and tell me what it is.
Probably let's see, what was the trying to describe it. Twilight going nuts in front of the Cutie Mark Crusaders. Yeah,
All right. So, you've talked a little bit about how you do like mashups and stuff, and here's where I
yeah.
think I'm going to deviate from our usual show. You were telling me about this project you were working on. So, you want to go into a little bit of detail?
I do mashups and stuff like that. Uh, for I started doing that in February, I want to say. I did a lot of Space Jam remixes, a lot, probably too many, and I wore myself out by May. I still do them from time to time. I made a couple in the last couple months, uh, but I think I've made 14 of them now, which is a lot. It's not approaching psychosis levels yet, but I don't think anyone will ever approach psychosis levels on Space Jam remixes. At least I hope they don't. I think he's got over 30 of them now. He's been making one a week for the past year. So, um, I do also make other remixes. I made a remix. The last one I made was a remix of um, or a mashup of trying to think. Oh, three Will Smith songs with "Time on My Side" from Homestuck. Was
Huh. I think I
yes,
might have to get a link to that later.
yeah. That's it's called "Will Smith on My Side." Um, that's one of my favorite ones I've done, and one I did right around that time as well was "Fuck You in the Deep," which is a mashup of "Fuck You" by CeeLo Green and "Rolling in the Deep" by Adele.
Well, at least you know how to combine song titles appropriately.
Yes.
Have you done any like pony stuff, or you just stay away from that?
I have done some. My mashups that I've done have been uh, for pony stuff have been strictly come on and slam stuff. I've done slams of let's see, from the show, becoming popular, and uh the Super Speedy Cider Squeezy 6000. I also did one of. And of fan songs, I did one of Discord, Eurobeat Brony's version, and Cerulean Blue by Replacer.
Right, good
Um,
stuff.
yeah,
Definitely the rarity songs. Those are the best.
yeah, yeah. That was the first one I actually made, and then I ended up remaking it later. So, but what I do like to do for my songs is make ridiculous photoshops. And so for a lot of my for my early mashups and the ones I've done lately, there's a lot of ridiculous ones that I've done. The first one that I did was my favorite on Becoming Slamular, uh, which is basically putting Charles Barkley's head right on rarities, and it's hilarious.
Right, so for all this music that you've been making, keeping in mind that inspiration be something that you draw the very reason to live from, where do you think you've gotten your inspiration to do all this from?
For my mashups, definitely Psychosis. His stuff is really the reason that I got into mashups, particularly. Um, his stuff is really good, and he makes it so quickly. I've talked to him before, and he says that it takes him like 10 minutes to make a Space Jam mashup, which blows my mind. I can't imagine how he does them that quickly. Even though I do them a lot faster than most people. I mean, if I like work on them really fast, it'll still take me half an hour to an hour to make one. Um, for my other mashups, it depends on how much in depth I want to go. I think the Will Smith on my side, I want to say that took me 3-4 hours to do. While Fuck You in the Deep, I started it, uh, put it down for a while, for like a month or two. Started it up again, put it down, and then finished it like 2 weeks later. So, um, time wise, it really depends on how much time I really want to put into it. Um, but
I think
his
that
stuff,
applies to any kind of.
yeah, but his stuff is all just really good for the most part, and I think that his only issue some of the time is picking with having the songs that match up well. Um, Sometimes I have that problem too, but I try to limit which songs I mash up, make sure that they work well together. Um,
Quality over quantity.
yeah, that's kind of how I look at it. But he has 1,000 Tumblr followers, and I have 13, so he's obviously doing something right. So,
Well, also time, however long you've been at it, is a pretty major factor.
yeah, that's part of it too. And he's been in the view of the community and other communities for quite a few years now. So, um, I'm just working my way up. It's not really a big deal right now.
As long as you keep pushing.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. As for my original stuff, probably Replacer is my biggest. Um, that's the person I kind of look up to as kind of a standard. His stuff is unlike anything else in the fandom by far. I mean, you look at kind of like where the fandom usually makes their music, and it's usually electronic, it's dubstep, it's ska, it's kind of mostly that. There's a little bit of hard rock and stuff there, but his stuff, I mean, it evokes some of the 60s and early 70s kind of stuff, which is really my kind of area. Um, if you listen to Pony Rock, which is on the Faithful and Strong album, it reminded me so much of the Beach Boys that I couldn't even believe it. It sounds like straight out of the mid 60s. Uh, and it's stuff like that I just want to be able to match that if I could possibly ever do that. I don't know if I will. I can hope. I don't think I will, but I can try as well. I have made a couple of original songs. They're not great, for the most part. I've got some ideas. They're kind of in the works. I have one song that I did a remix of Aviator's Constellations for his From All Sides album. He did a remix contest, and I did not get on that, but I ended up getting on the album Second Chances, which was released a couple weeks ago. It's an album for songs that have less than 1,000 views, so that if you want a second chance, you try to get on the album. It was voted on, and I'm on the album. I'm actually the first track on the album. If anyone's interested in that, you can get it at Brony Musician Directory Presents at bandcamp.com. It's a bit lengthy.
Yeah, we just throw that in somewhere.
Yeah, that album was put together by Freewave on mylittleremix.com, which is that's a pretty good site for aspiring brony musicians to kind of get their names out there and kind of improve their music a little bit. I'm not completely active on there, but I try to be a little bit. I lurk.
Yeah, well, self-promotions and others' promotions aside, You probably have just blown my mind with the amount of stuff you do
Oh yeah,
so
well
far.
that's not half of it.
And that's what worries me. Anyways, so we've got quite a huge understanding of what you do in this fandom right
Mhm.
now and where you are in it, in a metaphorical kind of sense.
Yeah.
So, moving on to what you kind of appreciate of the fandom, is there any music or fanfics or anything kind of in that kind of sort of style that you'd like to
There's
point out?
there's a lot of music that I really like. I think I think that there's a lot of people who don't get their dues that I think deserve to be looked at a little more. Probably some chief ones I would say. Lyoko Freaks and Zonak. Zonak and Lyoko Freaks. Which they have some pretty decent rock music. Replacer, obviously. He's a little bit more known, but I always have to throw his name out there. Psychosis, who's excellent mashup guy. He made a huge half hour brony mashup. Um, and he also put out Psychosis Befriends No Pony, which is another huge album of mashups. I believe that hit #1 on Bandcamp a little bit after it was released. Um, Udorado 2 is an excellent musician that's kind of unknown. Uh, he's a Japanese brony. That's Oodorato 2. His his stuff is he's got some really good remixes. I think that a lot of people need to look into him a little more. Some other ones I'll throw out. Kokoneru is really good. Bright Bri is really good. Um, Other than that, there's a few of the big ones. I really like all of Wooden Toaster's stuff.
Yeah. Well,
But
obviously, I would never challenge your knowledge of music over mine, because
um,
that would just be suicide of me.
yeah. As outside of music, I really appreciate what everyone that's in the community, what they do for the community, and um, it's all great stuff.
Anyways, Nitloff wants to know, what is your... Stop talking, people! You keep making me lose the question.
I'll what he was trying to say.
Where'd it go? I lost it.
Basically, Nitlaf is trying to say is, what do you think of the world's views on bronies? The different views.
I think
How many? Yeah.
I think that right now it's getting better. There's a lot of I think as people learn about why we watch the show and how we act. But I think that as we kind of get out there, as people learn more about us, I think that they'll act, a little bit differently than they have been, as opposed to like, absolute shock as to why we actually do it. And it's been like seeing, it. You kind of see that more and more as it's been going on. The last couple months have been great for that. Um, I mean, there are so many of us, and we're so vocal that it's just, that's just how we go. But as we get everything, as we keep being how we are, people are gonna they're gonna act like more like we're normal people more than how they have been. So because that's what we are, we're normal people. We might be a bit eccentric, but
Well, any last
actually,
statements?
there
Yes.
was a couple things that I kind of wanted to go over a little bit. One of them was those huge announcements, which I didn't really talk about at all. Which is I'm actually going to be the host of a new game show on Equestria United.
Ooh.
Yes.
Does it
It's good.
involve women wearing skimpy outfits?
It does not,
Ooh.
but it will be a fun time. It's going to be a trivia based game. Tentative title is Baffle the Bronies. That may or may not change. We'll see. But it's going to be on equestriaunited.net. Our first show is going to be on November 3rd. So if you're interested in participating, if you're interested in donating something towards the show for prizes, which will obviously give you a shout out, or a few shout outs, kind of like advertising. So if you're at all interested in being on the show or being involved in the show, feel free to send me an email at admiralyoshi@gmail.com. You know, we want to try to get this thing off the ground a little bit. We don't know how long it'll take, but we're ready for the most part, and all we need right now are people to play. So
just one question about. Do you know some of the questions that would be asked? Like, have you seen?
Yeah, we're gonna have a few rounds involved. For example, one round is called Missing Lyrics, and so we would give you some lyrics from a song from the fandom or from the show. I'd give you a specific amount of words that you need to fill in. I would say the word. I would say some of the lyrics. I would say blank, and then you would just have to buzz in and fill in the lyrics. We do have stuff like some clips from the show, kind of asking, what episode is this from? Or something like that. Sound clips. What episode is this from? We might
what
have.
What are they going to say next?
What was that?
What are they going to say next?
Yeah, or no, not usually what they're going to say next. We might have that, though. We'll talk about it, but right now, that's, not, actually, it might be planned. I'll have to talk to our producer about it.
Because what episode is this is such an easy question.
Yeah, you'd think, as long
depends
as
on the part they're showing, really.
Yeah. If we go far enough in depth, plus a lot of people don't know the names of the episodes, so to be fair. And then we'll also have some name the artist, name the song, so songs from the community or what else. And then there'll be a bonus round for whoever gets the most points during regular time, as long as our lightning round before that. So we've got some stuff planned. It should all be set in stone by the time the first episode rolls around. But like I said, if you're interested in participating, if you're interested in being a sponsor for the show, send me an email at admiralyoshi@gmail.com. And believe me, we need you. You can't run a game show with just the host.
Alright, so any last mentions?
One other thing that I am going to be working on January 9th, which is a long way away, for you guys, but not for me, because I've really got to throw stuff together.
How does time differ between you and me, real quick? Just answer that. Does your time move faster than mine?
The problem is that I just have so much I'm working on that I need so much time to get everything set up and everything moving. Especially with this project in particular. January 9th, starting January 9th, I'm going to be going for the world record on the arcade game Nibbler, which I will be doing for charity. As of this point, we're leaning towards an eyesight-related charity, but I'm looking for a lot of assistance in the brony community for donations, and for people to just watch. For right now, I have a partnership with Game Gavel which is a site dedicated to gaming. For eBay, it's an eBay-like site for gaming. I have a partnership with them in stone that they'll be running donations. They'll be having an auction during my event. It's going to be, if you're in the area, at Star Wars Arcade in DeKalb, Illinois. I'm planning on needing at least 40 to 45 hours to get the record of straight play. The record right now is set at 1.042 billion points, which is a lot of points. It's one of the most challenged records out there. I know a few people that have had that record, and it's really a tough game. But I have the skill right now to go for that record, and believe me, I will get it. So I just want to say that's going to be happening. If anyone's interested in donating for that, send me a message at admiralyoshi@gmail.com. That's a little bit more down the line, but I just kind of want to throw that out there so people kind of know about it.
All right. And is that it?
Yeah, right now, I can't think of anything else.
So take backs. This is it. Your last moment.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else.
Yes. Nitla had another question. What do you think of the dispute between bronies and furries?
I think there's a lot of overlap there with bronies and furries. I think that there's going to be people like, I'm not a furry myself, but I think there's a lot of people like that in every fandom. It's obviously a big part of the MLP fandom. It's not something that, I participate in, or I'm not a furry, but, if people like that, that's their prerogative. So I don't really see much of a dispute there. I think it's just kind of, people do what they want to do, and that's fine, just make sure you're not stepping on other people's toes.
Alright, well, thanks everyone. Thanks for watching, everyone. Or, actually, no, this time you actually watched the screen. Anyways, I'll throw all the links that Mr. Music Man here threw out in the description, except that doesn't work here, so it's kind of like leaving an ending for two different things, which is kind of hard to do. Anyways, this was Equestrian Voice. If you would like to come on the show, just email us equestrianvoicecrew@gmail.com. I'll also put that in the description because it's spelled weird. And remember, you don't have to be anyone special, you just need a mic. You don't have to know everything and do everything like this guy over here.